What if the riskiest way to become an entrepreneur is the one everyone talks about? Most people assume building from scratch is the only path to business ownership. Yet thousands of profitable companies change hands every year with customers, revenue, and proven systems already in place. If you've ever wondered whether there's a smarter way to become an owner, Buy Then Build explores exactly why so many people overlook it. The link is in the description. Maybe you've hesitated because starting from zero feels too risky, or you have no idea where you'd even find a profitable business for sale. Maybe you've convinced yourself buying a company requires millions in the bank, or you're unsure how anyone decides what a business is actually worth. Those are the exact questions this book is built around. If you're interested in learning how people become business owners without inventing the next big startup, subscribe. This channel breaks down books that tackle those real-world business problems one at a time. The first argument the book makes is surprisingly simple. Starting from scratch isn't automatically the courageous choice. It's often the statistically harder one. Most startups never reach lasting profitability, while an existing business has already proven that customers are willing to pay. In Chapter 1, the author makes the case that acquisition entrepreneurship isn't a shortcut. It's a different strategy altogether. Ignore that distinction, and you could spend years validating an idea someone else has already turned into a successful company. But recognizing that opportunity creates another question. Where do you actually find businesses like that? That's where Chapter 4 comes in. It's not about scrolling business listings until something looks interesting. It's about understanding that many owners quietly think about selling long before they advertise it publicly. Patient searching, working with brokers, and reaching out directly often uncover opportunities most buyers never see. The search itself becomes a skill. If you've ever struggled to find worthwhile opportunities instead of obvious ones, let me know in the comments. That challenge is far more common than most people realize. Of course, finding a business is only half the battle. The next domino is knowing whether the asking price makes any sense. A profitable business isn't automatically a good investment if you overpay for it. Chapter 6 explains how buyers typically value small businesses using cash flow rather than emotion or guesswork. Understanding ideas like sellers' discretionary earnings and valuation multiples gives you a way to judge whether a deal is fair instead of negotiating blindly. Without that framework, people either offer far too much because they're afraid of losing the deal, or walk away from opportunities that were actually priced reasonably. And even with the right price, another assumption stops many buyers before they begin. Many people believe buying a business requires enormous personal wealth. Chapter 7 challenges that idea by explaining how acquisitions are often financed through tools like SBA loans and seller financing, where the seller helps finance part of the purchase. That changes the conversation from how much cash do I have to how are successful acquisitions actually structured. If you've ever assumed ownership was out of reach because of the upfront cost, that's exactly the misconception this chapter addresses. But financing only gets you through the front door. Once the deal closes, the real responsibility begins. Chapter 9 argues that the first job of a new owner isn't changing everything overnight. It's protecting the relationships that made the business valuable in the first place. Employees already know how things work. Customers already trust the company. Rushing in with unnecessary changes can damage both before you've earned that trust. Only after stability comes growth. And that's really the chain this book builds. If you automatically default to starting from scratch, never learn how to search for established businesses, misjudge what they're worth, assume you need to pay entirely in cash, or rush into changing everything after an acquisition, you make business ownership much harder than it needs to be. Buy Then Build lays out the broader strategy behind each of those decisions and explains why buying an existing business can be a faster, lower-risk path to entrepreneurship. If you'd like to explore that framework in depth, the link is in the description. Thanks for spending a few minutes thinking through a different way to approach business ownership. If this perspective challenged how you've always thought about entrepreneurship, turn on notifications and subscribe so you don't miss the next book breakdown.